Hey everybody, it's Dave here. We are live at the 2-minute warning. It's not quite the 2-minute warning. There's 3 minutes or so left in the game. Vikings are driving, and that is a woohoo. Yes, it is. Got to pour me some whiskey, and we'll get this game going. All right, I am streaming via YouTube, so anybody watching live will be ahead of me, like the lovely and beautiful Miss Mary. Feel free to spoil away. And here we go. Breaking the huddle, 2-minute 38, 3rd and 1. And Darnold under center, takes a snap, hands off to Jones. Jones makes it just barely back to the line of scrimmage. It'll be 4th and 1 inside on the play. Let's see how it goes. The ball is placed at the Chicago 6 or 7-ish, somewhere in there. Will they go for it, or will we go for the field goal? What is the question now? We shall find out. Well, it looks like the offense is off the field, so most likely a field goal. I do believe we are doing well on this one. Yes, we are. All right. We are now officially at the 2-minute warning, so time for the roll-in. Welcome to Vikings First and SKOL's, live at the 2-minute warning. Next. And here we are. I'll go back to the single screen while we wait on our other Vikings First and SKOL folks to join us. Forlorn hope. Cheers, my friend. Cheers, cheers, cheers. George, Darnold is question mark. Our run game sucks. Hey, it was efficient today. Play calling continues to be suspect. I don't know about that. I worry about our offensive line, though. That I do worry about. With Robinson going out with a foot injury earlier, and then we had Pace go out with some sort of injury. Didn't see what it was. Chuck says, yeah, baby. Naylor causes me chest pains. You and me both. Absolutely, Chuck, you and me both. And we're rolling through these Barbie commercials. Yay. I figured that'd be a Chicago Bears fans type commercial that you'd want to go through. If you get that one. All right. So, it's 2-minute warning. Vikings are up 24-16 by 8. It's 4th down. They have the ball on the 7. Do they kick the field goal? Or do they go for it at 4th and 1 and try to run out the clock? Yeah, Chevy, I think, first off, SKOL, and I do believe the O-line is just there. That seems to be how they're playing. We talked about it yesterday. We'd love a more power game, but that isn't the case. And if you missed it, go back and watch Two Old Bloggers. We spent the first half of the show talking about the O-line. Hey, Peter SKOL, my brother, how are you doing today? Now, the win probability has us at 99.6, but I still like it. Field goal, according to Terry. All right. Let's see. George says we can't run against a bunch of rookies. They better kick it. Nope, they're going for it. And Sam Darnold's tapping his helmet. Pats the butt of Garrett Bradbury. Looks like a sneak. No, trying to call. No. And it calls timeout. What? Trying to get the defense to jump, and it didn't work. We'll see how this goes now. Hey, Duncan, how are you? SKOL. Yes, next on my free TV is 49ers Packers, which I will probably switch to once we get the show over with. But, and we did see today that Detroit held on, 24-6 victory over the Indianapolis Colts. And they are going for the field goal, 26-yard attempt. Snap, down, good. All right. Vikings go up 27-16 with 1:56 seconds left. I'm not saying it's over, but it's close. Now, how do you feel about being called frauds? That's my question. I've seen it in the press all week long. The Vikings are frauds. Hey, we had a, plus 74. That's going up. And it's going up significantly. Plus 11. What's that? Plus 85. We need to be plus 100 by the time you hit the playoffs. I still think we have one of the best teams in the NFC. So we should be good. All right. Chuck, Niners have something like 15 guys out today. It's crazy. Yes, I know. Unfortunately, and I still hope they pull it out. Thanks, George. Appreciate it. Now, we have sitting there waiting for the kickoff return. My question is, are they frauds or not? I'd say no. Like I said, I still think they're one of the top 3 or 4 teams in the NFC. Chuck says, isn't Chicago number 1 in pass D? I don't know about pass, but it's number 1 in red zone, and they've given up quite a few points. And what the heck? I was about ready to give the ball to the special teams today because they've been outstanding, and they just let a huge return. All right. Doesn't matter. Underrated is better. Absolutely. You got that right, Terry. And there's a Turner sighting on the tackle, thankfully. All the 3-4 people missed tackle stuff today has been frustrating. The doubles, there's been a lot of missed tackles today, and that's a shame. And Caleb Williams shaking his fist in the huddle, snap, clap. Let's go, let's break. They got the ball on the Minnesota 40. They've got to score twice in quick succession if they have any hopes, dreams, or desires of pulling out the upset. And he throws the ball. It's complete to Odunze. Odunze gets out of bounds. Clock stop. So, what has been your impression of the Chicago Savior?
The Bears.
I've been relatively impressed with him. Terry says, you're right. Everything is really showing win streak is all we need. Yes, absolutely. All right. Oh, Dallas showing a highlight. Did they score? They're winning. Holy cow. 2 minutes, 7 seconds left. 6 seconds left. They're up 27-17 over Washington. All right. Williams drops back, goes deep, almost picked off. Knocked down by Stephon Gilmore. Yes. All right. Chevy? Nope. Dallas just went ahead, or they were ahead to start off with. According to ESPN here, Dallas leads 27-17. And that's going to be an interesting place come the end of the season. They'll be hunting for new coaches as well, as I think Chicago may do the same, or at least they should. But we'll see. We shall see. There's another long ball miss by Williams. Williams can scramble. I'll give him that much. And he's throwing some cool out of, what's the term? Off-schedule passes today. But he is a youngster, and he's not being coached well. Chuck, speaking of frauds, KC's not looking great again. Really? I haven't looked. Oh, they've got it tied up with Carolina, 27-27 with 1:46. They'll probably still pull it out. They got the Zebras on their side, remember? All right. And Williams completes a pass. They're driving. I've got 1:18 and counting down on my TV. Williams drops back again, guns it to the right, zings it over his receiver. Clock stopped at 1:11. All right. We shall see how this goes. If they're smart, if they get it to 4th down, they need to kick a field goal. and then declare for the onside kick. Yeah. We shall see. Your type of chit talk name. Hey, cool. That works. Speaking of chits, that's something we used in the Air Force. Kept in the tool room. What is a chit? It's a little round metal disc. All right. He goes back again, throws, complete, and stopped by the Vikings. Short of the first down. It's 3rd and 3. Clock still running. Inside 52 seconds. 51. Gets the ball, drops back, throws complete, first down, stopped at the 1-yard line. Whoa. All right, 40 seconds, counting, 39. Bears have it first and goal, 35-34. Keep going, clock, keep going. Vikings defense, whole bunch of people on the line, rush, almost sacked again, this time by Harrison Smith, and he throws a touchdown. Damn it. Oh, well. Doesn't matter. We're going to win. All right. Let's see how this goes. It's 27-22. 2-point conversion gets them to 24. So they're going to go for 2. Let's see how it goes. Everybody came off their protection when he was scrambling. Not good. We shall see. All right. Got 22 seconds left on the clock. He's going for a 2-point conversion. He's licking his lips. Got his mouth guard half in, half out. 13's in motion. Snaps back. He drops back. Boom. Gets the 2-point conversion. Successful to Moore. It is now 27-24. Neiman says, probably the worst play calling of the year by Flores that he's done this year. Well, we'll discuss that. I don't know if that's the case or not, but it's definitely, the defense hasn't been absolutely on top this year. That's of its game, this game. All right, there's 3 points. They trail us by 22 seconds left. They're going to declare for the onside kick. As long as we recover it, this should be over. But, Neiman, that's an interesting observation. Can you get more specific for me so we can discuss it? Now, we got pressures, but we never got sacks. He was mobile. That I admit. What? Let's see. All right, here we go. Getting ready. Forlorn hope. You cannot control what and how people think of you. Take care of business, and the news will write itself. Absolutely. Hey, and as Darren said, as long as they're considered frauds, quote, hey, we can play the underdog role. Every coach wants that. See, it's us against the world. And why not? It helps motivate the players. And we got a timeout on Minnesota. Icing the kicker. Like that always works. Okay, here we go. Whoa! Win probability dropped from 99% to 66.1. Really? What do you know, ESPN? Is this game fixed or what? Chris, we've been getting pressure. Not to the quarterback. Caleb has been great finding the open receivers. After initial pressure, our lack of quality corners is showing. Yeah, we've got... We said that at the beginning of the season. We needed guys. We'd hope Kyrie Jackson, rest in peace, would have been there, and Blackman would have been in there, but we had to go older just to cover, and they've done decent. So done decent with what they're done. Neiman says every time you had them in 3rd and long, they played conservative cover 4-like defense, and massive cushions allowed them to get their wide receivers open, and cornerbacks didn't help either. Yeah, I can see that. Yes, they did. They gave up a lot of conversions today. Chuck, I think on Monday night game, Vikes will have 4+ sacks getting a look at this kid. And the ball is short. And did they recover? Touched a Viking. And Chicago recovered the ball. Wait a minute. There's plenty of discussion here. Let's see what the referees say. It didn't go the 10 yards. Were they offsides? No, didn't look like they were offsides. It hit Munt's leg first. That should be Chicago's ball, by the way I see it. Flores was exposed today, according to George. Also, have you not targeted your best player in the NFL more? Yeah, he obviously didn't. Nice. Steve, well, yep. Chris says, yeah, clear hit the foot. Ozzy says, are you kidding me? Of course, Tracy, of course. It always happens. This is Soldier Field. All right, here we go. 21 seconds. We're playing it deep. There's 4 men on the line. They rush 3. Drops back. Zings it over the middle for a catch to Moore at the 30. Oh, brother. Ugh. Yes. All right. Ghosts. It may be Chicago. What the heck is that? Now what are they crying about? Williams pointing at something. We got 3 seconds on the clock. All right. Here we go. Here we go. What is he crying about? Boom. Down. And more. We're seeing the replays. But what's it crying for? Williams is pissed. They got to go for a field goal to tie it up. 3 seconds. Here we go. And the ball is up. And it's good. Hey, we're going to have overtime. Damn it. I like me some extra football, but not this. And Chris, yeah, it would have been poetic, but it didn't. Only that first drive. Great. This is fantastic. Well, folks, they made it a game. Now we go into extra quarter. See who wins. George says Vikings never play a complete game. And after I thought, the special teams did so well and it was a good complimentary game. And, nope. And they keep showing it going through the uprights. I don't care how many times it goes through. It's still bad. Oi, 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 oi. And why this team makes me drink. Yeah, everybody wants to know. George says Vikings will never play a complete game. Well, not as constituted, I don't think. You can give them another year. Let the plan come to fruition. It's not there yet. So we shall see. As Vikings fans, always waiting for the next shoe to drop. They're going over the rules. CJ Ham out there going, All right. Each team will have a possession unless the first team scores a touchdown. If still tied after one possession each, next score wins. Unless it goes the full 10 minutes and then it ends in a tie. Chicago's won the toss. They will receive. Thank you, Steve. Yep. Oh, this is crazy. Absolutely nuts. And we go to commercial. Absolutely, we go to commercial. Why not? All right, we've discussed how we think Flores has called his worst game. We've discussed play calling being bad. We've discussed special teams failing in key moments. What else is there to discuss? Who else can we blame? How about the refs? Can we blame them too? Duncan says, well, there are the Vikings, LOL. All right. Here we go. Get through the commercials, please. I want to call something. Hey, I do want to welcome everybody here. Duncan, Steve, Chevy, Todd, Chris, George, Tracer, Ozzy, Chuck, Steve, everybody, Nyman, of course, or Neiman, Chris, my good buddy, Forlorn's here as well. And, of course, George Blunt, if I didn't mention you before. You guys absolutely rock. Hey, we're watching trucks crab across the snow. Yay. Okay. Steve Waterhouse, now would be a great time for our D to get its first turnover of the game. Absolutely. I was hoping Van Ginkel would get a pick six this game. Yeah, blame the refs, Vikings fans, West Virginia. Blame the ref on not calling the hit out of bounds on Powell. And that was definitely a hit out of bounds. And it was a ticky-tack block in the back call. But we'll see. All right. Steven says, I think it's time to switch from beer to whiskey. Buddy, I learned that years ago. That's why I'll go straight for the hard stuff. Plus, I don't have to pee as much. And that's a problematic thing when you're live broadcasting football talk shows. Is that, and you're old like me and your bladder gets full quick. So, and there's the kick, and it goes into the end zone and plops dead. They nail on it, and Chicago will start at the 30. All right. And more highlights and commercials. Yay. But I hope everybody's having a good weekend. That's not bad. I got the house to myself, me and Merlin. Daughter's out in New Mexico with other daughters. It's going to celebrate Thanksgiving out there. I'm going to celebrate it by myself eating Mexican food here. Because daughter can't stand spicy. She's allergic to it. And it's the only time I get. Plus, I get to be with you and watch football. All right. Williams drops back, sees nothing, scrambles, gets maybe 1 yard. 2nd and 9 coming up. Yeah, buddy. All right, here we go. Eberflus, I'm so sick of looking at him on the sideline. But we'll see. George, thank you so very much for the super chat. Cheers to those Vikings fans in North Dakota, especially in Grand Forks. Absolutely. And from what I gather, it's cold up there right now. It usually is this time of year. All right. Snaps back. Drops back. Looking. Got all sorts of time. Scramble. Sack. Yes. Finally, Grenard. That should give him 2 on the day. Makes 10 for the season. Good for him. That was freaking awesome. He moves around. Grenard said, I'm tired of jumping. I'm going to throw you down. All right. Williams is sitting there. Biggs, another game of terrible decisions by KOC. Specify. What do you mean? What did he do wrong? All right. So we can talk about it. 3rd and 21, flag, looks like delay of game on Chicago. That'll march them back even further. Yes, Steve, delay of game. Biggs, no, I'm serious. What play calls were wrong that you thought were wrong or that he should have done? Same to you, George. I'm open to him. One, should he have thrown to Jefferson more? Probably, but Jefferson seemed to be covered. Jordan Addison has had a heck of a game. He should have thrown to T.J. Hawkinson earlier. All right, another pass play comes up. I get maybe 8 yards, but they were 3rd and 26, so it doesn't really matter. Not taking the field goal on 4th down and turning it over. I gotcha. That was a gamble. George says not enough run plays. We've had quite a few. I wish there was more successful. Now, did anybody besides me notice that Aaron Jones seems hurt today and aching every time he gets up? And the punt is away. Taylor kicks it. Powell catches it, and immediately he's tackled. Ball comes loose. Vikings hop on it on our 6. Now, whether it was down by contact or not is yet to be determined. I thought it was down by contact, but we'll find out. We shall see. And there's a scrum for the ball. Chevy, you love your Vikes. I think we all do, or we wouldn't be here. That was down by contact. He was down. Should be down at the 20. Yeah, he's down. All right. Let's go. I think we all do, Chevy. We all do. It's just frustrating loving our Vikings. Actually, it's the 21. Vikings ball. 1st and 10. Let's see if we can drive and score. Well, I love how the win probability went in Chicago's favor and is now back to 50-50. Actually, still shows Chicago's favor 51.8%. I don't know why, but okay, whatever. Chevy won't say bad words. I want to say, so, Super Bowl. Throw it to Jefferson. All right. Darnold's back, got all sorts of time, too much time, and gets sacked. Oh, come on, Sam. Get rid of the ball quicker. Crazy. He holds onto the ball so long sometimes. Probably trying to throw to Jefferson. Boom. And that came off of O'Neal. He had him blocked behind him. All right. Jones did cost us 6 points. Yes, in the very beginning. KOC has done okay. No more crazy drafting, please. All right. Drops back. Throws to Hawkinson. Hawkinson with the ball at about what looks like the 30. 3rd down. Steve says Darnold's been holding it long all day. Yes. Biggs, sorry, but I'm in on playing Mullins. Darnold's sketchy at best. Well, Mullins is decisive. That's obvious. George says, put Mullins in. All right. We got timeout on Chicago. First called timeout. It's 3rd down and 10. 6:23. Vikings have the ball on their own 20-something. 21, 22, 22. And here we go. Mullins was decisive. When he came in, that first play is beautiful. Thing of art. The second play wasn't bad either. But it is what it is. All right, we got 6 minutes, 23 seconds left in the overtime period. Score is tied. Vikings are sitting 3rd and 10 at their own 22-yard line. We need a drive, a big drive, and score. Got to do it big. Big railing. All right. Darnold and shotgun snap. Drops back, throws quick. First down to Jordan Addison. All right. Here we go. Keep this drive moving. Maybe pick up the tempo a bit. Would that help? Would it help? George and Big Rails giving each other love. Nothing wrong with that. If you're putting mullets in your brain power is null. Love the poetry there, Chris. Why is Quisenberry in there? Because Robinson got hurt in the first half. His foot. He was questionable return, and then at the beginning of the second half, they said he was out. Just like Ivan Pace. I never heard what Ivan Pace's injury was. I think it was a hammy. The way he got crunched in a pile and did the splits. And you could sort of see his hamstring go. Bloop. Yes, Jason, Addison's having a heck of a day so far. He's having his biggest day of his career, believe it or not. All right, 1st and 10, 5:53. Let's go. Addison so far has had 8 catches, 161 yards with a 20.1 yard average and 1 TD. That's amazing. That is a good day. And what? We've got a line judge or a chain gang member hurt? How'd that happen? Okay. 1st and 10. See him laying there. Still missed it. All right. Pace hurt is a hamstring. Thanks, Doug. Appreciate the confirmation. Thought it was. All right. 1st and 10 into Minnesota 34. Got to get in the wild man's field goal range. All right. George Mullins can read quicker. Darnold is stuck in QB school. Stupid. 101. 5th grade QB level. Yeah. Okay. I sort of agree with you. Mm-hmm. Officially reported. Thanks, Doug. So it is a hammy for Pace. He'll be out a few weeks, most likely, and we'll learn about the foot later, as I'm sure they get an MRI. We'll hear about it. Then we get back to the question, who's going to start at left tackle again? Yay! Will it be Quisenberry? Will we move Brandell over and all that sort of happy horse pucky? Do we bring up Walter Rouse? Well, he'll be brought up just because of sheer numbers. Oh, brother. Okay. The Vikings are on the plus side of the win probability list, but they got to get in scoring range. That's what I don't like about the ESPN probability range stuff. And I do believe this is the first time somebody's been in the 99th percentile and suddenly it's overtime. So here we go. Sam Darnold's lining up, 1st and 10 from the 34, just shy of the 34. He's under center. Ball snapped. Hand off to Jones. Whistles blow. Flags fly. Illegal motion offense. Offsides offense. Yay. Maybe I could be right. I'm too old. My knees wouldn't hack it. Nor am I big enough. I'm only 6 foot now. And shrinking. Which sucks when you get older. And not quite heavy enough. But joints are shot. After a lifetime of climbing up and down flight lines and airplanes and over mountains and all sorts of other stuff. All right. Pass caught. to Jefferson for the first down. He's just shy of the 50-yard line. This is good. We're driving. Yes, Jason, JJ. Big says Munt got false start. That's 2 big mistakes by him. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. We missed Josh Oliver. I got to admit that. We missed Josh Oliver. And obviously Christian Darrisaw. But it's a war of attrition, people. War of attrition. Who can be healthiest the longest and work around their injuries. All right, here we go. He drops back again. Play action. Steps up. Scrambles. Scrambles to his left. Flag down for holding. Even though Sam gets 8 yards, it'll be called back because our O-line. Yes. Here we go. Holding. I didn't catch who because I don't have the volume on. Blake Brandel. Yay. Speaking of which, let's see the replay. Oh, that's a ticky-ass call. Oh, you got to be kidding me, ref. That isn't holding. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. Romo's practicing and kicking into the net. 1st and 20 from the Minnesota 49. Now it's 39 now. Great. All right, here we go. Lined up at shotgun. Snap. Get the ball out. All right, get it out to Jones. Jones gets 8 yards, 9 yards. I thought Jones today's had a decent day. Let's see what he's done so far. Rushing, he's 21 carries, 104 yards, 5 yards per average. And catching, he's 3 for 23, 7.7. I don't know if it caught that last one. All right, snap. Hold. Go, passes it to Hawkinson. Hawkinson drives, 1st down at the Bears 40. All right, here we go. George Blunt says JJ. Steve Waterhouse says Hawk for the 1st down. I love it when big tight ends get the 1st down. Jason TJ Hawkinson. Boy, I was expecting a lot more out of him today, and he's just hadn't been throwing the ball. There was one play, it was the 4th and whatever. He was sitting wide open. All he had to do was dump it, and he was like 2 yards past the 1st down. And they went for JJ, and he was triple covered, and it incomplete. All right, Jones got the ball, ran the ball. 3 minutes, 37 seconds left. Counting down. 2nd and 8. Romo's doing the kick in the net thing on the sidelines. O flag or 0 flag? Hopefully there's no flag. You guys, if you're watching it live, you're ahead of me. Big says TJ's the difference maker on his team. Yes, I agree. Here we go. Sam's under center. Snap. Drops back. Guns it right to a wide open TJ Hawkinson down to the 10-9. Thrown out of bounds at the 9-yard line. TJ Hawkinson. Yeah, baby. And he was open too. It's a good throw by Sam on that one. Got to give it. Biggs, you are 100% correct. He is a difference maker. Biggs says that's what he's talking about. Yep. Steve, another big pass to TJ. Yep. You got that right. Boom. Slightly behind, but he caught it. That's a good thing. What do you think of the Chicago Bears throwbacks in the Pippi Longstocking stockings? And what the heck was that? Takes the snap and falls down. Was that on purpose? It fell sideways like he slipped. George. Yes. And here we go. 2nd and goal. Romo's running out there on 2nd and goal. Really? Okay. All we got to do is score the field goal, so it's going to be good. Hey, win probabilities went up to 96.4%. Woohoo. Now, please spoil this for me, because I know I'm at least half a play behind or a play behind what you guys watching it live are. Now, the 15-second delay for this is still not good. Vikings fans in West Virginia still not trusting the kicker. All right, we'll see. Here goes snap. Ball's up. Ball's good. Vikings win. Vikings win. Vikings win. Yes, your Minnesota Vikings go to 9-2 the hard way. Yes, they do. SKOL, everybody. Center of the field. That's why I did it. Uniforms suck. Field goals gold. Yes, it's good. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Ball was down, laces front. We're watching it in the replay, and up through the right half of the opening. Boom, there it goes. Romo knew it. Bam. That was close. It's too close, as George says. Way too close. I don't need that heart problem. Now we go to plus 77 on the score. But, hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. Your Minnesota Vikings are 9-2. Terry says, me and Tyler do a great job. Keep it up. Well, Tyler should be joining any minute, any second now, because the game's over. And everybody from Vikings First and SKOL crew should be joining shortly. And I hope they do. And I want one of them to go solo for a bit so I can remember that bladder we talked about? Yeah. It's, yes, George, I 100% agree with you. It's not humane to be a Vikings fan. Yes, it's a pure punishment, but it is what it is. My dad was a Bears fan, so it just happened to be, he took me in my first game in 1969 at the old Met, and it was Vikings hosting the Chicago Bears. But we had a bunch of great memories, talking on the phone for years and years and years over, you know, how each team played, and it was great. So a win's a win, that's right. As my buddy Drew Bunting says, an ugly win's an ugly win, but if it hangs off the ass of a cow, it's still a win. So, hey, a win's a win, 9-2. Yes, 9-2. Yes, Duncan SKOL, the life of a Vikings fan. Freddie's here. Welcome, Freddie. Oh, my God. What do you think? Is your heart regained its beat yet? Open-minded. Woo. And we have our first Vikings First and SKOL member in the button. Here we go. Sorry about that. Hit the wrong button. So I'm going to bring in my partner from yesterday, Darren Campbell. What do you think, Darren?
Give me a
give me a minute to catch your breath.
Yeah. Well, like, it shouldn't have got to this point, but it did. People are going to be screaming, perhaps at O'Connell, that it's his fault it got to this point. But we had a 12-point lead with a minute 57 and no timeouts. Like, Kevin O'Connell is not on kickoff coverage there on
Right.
DeAndre Carter. He is not rushing three guys and giving Williams all kinds of time in the pre-vet defense, which is supposed to stop the big plays, I guess, but they got big plays anyway. So I think what Kevin O'Connell did in that last drive to get the field goal was reasonable. And let's give it up for Sam Darnold late in the game there. Some great throws, great work by the offensive line to give him time to make those throws. Even though you've got Cam Robinson and out and David Quisenberry in, and I thought Quisenberry held up reasonably well. But big shout out to the offensive line on that overtime drive for giving Darnold the time, even when we were trying to sabotage it with a few penalties and that sort of thing.
Sean says, wow, ugly win, but one of those. Yep.
Was it really ugly, though? The ending was ugly. The ending of the last 2 minutes was ugly, but the Vikings played a very solid road game, I thought, up until that point.
And you got to remember, it's the third road game in a row, and to sweep all three is difficult. So, Jonas, what do you think? And welcome to the show.
Well, the Vikings at Soldier Field things. It's just the way it goes every time they go there, and yeah, I agree. It wasn't that ugly. It was actually the Bears that, in a lot of ways, kind of tried to beat themselves, and in the end, they succeeded. The Vikings, in the end, did some stupid stuff that led to that 11-point comeback. But, otherwise, I would say at least they played a mostly clean game. Like, the defense was off today, which I'm not too worried about because, like, this was different to the way the Lions and the Rams were able to beat it. The Lions and the Rams were able to beat it with stuff that is...
Keep going, Jonas.
That is clearly designed to beat this kind of defense. The Bears, I wouldn't say they beat them with that stuff. I would say they beat them with a lot of stuff that the Vikings defense usually does well. They usually are good at containing scrambling QBs this year. They didn't contain Caleb Williams today. They're usually pretty good blowing up screens. They didn't do that today. So there's a lot of stuff that went wrong today that the Vikings usually are good at. And that's why I'm not that worried, because if that stuff happens, and I don't expect it to happen that often, because the Vikings have proven that they can do it differently, and that's just the way it goes, and they still won it, and therefore I'm okay with that.
Okay. Joining us now is Tyler Fornes.
Oh.
Yeah, and I'll be right back.
That sums it up for sure.
Why can't anything be normal with this damn team? You know what? I think the most frustrating part for me was not necessarily what happened on the field, because there's plenty to be frustrated about. I think what's going to be annoying about this is the narrative coming out of this game was Caleb Williams was a god, and nobody's going to pay attention to anything Sam Darnold did. And I thought he was significantly better than Caleb Williams in this game. Darnold tweaked his foot or ankle, which I don't know if that's the same one that he popped up on the injury report with this past week, but like this dude is playing some incredible football right now, and he's not getting nearly enough love and attention. The pocket presence, the ability to just read the field. He did not put the ball in harm's way one time. Just so much good here. And all we're going to talk about is Johnny Munt being an absolute bozo on that onside kick when, look, I understand you kind of got to block, but you have to have awareness with what that ball is doing. And it's just, that's all we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about how the Vikings blew it. They were up 11 with 25 seconds left. But we should be talking about Darnold. We should be talking about Jordan Addison having a career day. Hawkinson looks back to being TJ Hawkinson. David Quessenberry was fine in relief of Cam Robinson. Those are the things we should be talking about. And the fact that for the second consecutive season, drop 8 coverage, a 20-yard dagger to DJ Moore set the Bears up for a game-tying or game-winning field goal. They should have done something different on that play, and they didn't. And to me, that was a little bit frustrating. But the Vikings keep finding ways to win football games, and they were the better team today. They were the better team on all 3 phases, except, well, unless you count onside kick as a phase. I was very impressed on an overall level with how the Vikings played, their resilience, and if Darnold doesn't get the love he deserves after this game, because let's be honest, those commentators were glazing over anything Caleb Williams did. And they barely gave any mention to Sam Darnold. And you know what? I've had an issue with how national media has perceived this team for a long time. This season, a lot of that's coming home to roost. And it's just, my goodness, what? Sam Darnold. You can win a Super Bowl with Sam Darnold. You can win a Super Bowl with Sam Darnold. And I'm going to beat that drum. With this defense,
If he plays like that, you can.
Last week was fantastic, and this game was better than last week. 22-34, 330, 2 touchdowns, no picks, great pocket presence. And you know what? When they got backed up, the sack early on in that drive, the holding call on Blake Brandel didn't phase him. He kept firing down the field. And you know what? I was right here a few weeks ago when I said Darnold needs to check down a little bit more. He needs to be comfortable taking the easy ones. Guess what he did on that final drive? Aaron Jones, TJ Hawkinson, he's figuring it out. He is coming into his own. This is a good NFL quarterback. Connor Orr, because I read all the power rankings and I kind of chart where the Vikings are week in and week out. He said Sam Darnold had a really good first few games. Then came back down to earth because people got film on him. And like all good quarterbacks do, he adapted and adjusted and is coming through the other side. That is what we're seeing right now. We can talk to death about how Johnny Mundt almost screwed the team and the fact that it happened again and the Vikings continue to be quote unquote cursed, like my wife likes to say. No, they earned this win because of Sam Darnold, because of Jordan Addison, because of TJ Hawkinson, and they deserve their flowers, and I'm going to make sure they get them. I feel better now. I'm going to drink some Busch Light.
Guys, I would like to, bring up the onside kick. I would like to talk a bit about what could have been done differently there. I don't think the Bears did anything as far as the setup that a lot of teams haven't done, but they have 4 guys bunched at very, very close together, or 5 on the right side. The commentators were saying how that the kick hadn't gone 10 yards yet. It hadn't, but it hadn't also stopped rolling yet. So I'm just kind of wondering, and they're coming on Mundt and the other guys, what could have been done differently there? I know, Tyler, you're saying about better awareness, but you got a big fucking guy coming on you, and I don't even know if he actually saw the ball there. He just knew. So I think it was just one of those things where things lined up pretty perfectly for the Bears on the onside kick. Maybe we didn't execute quite as well, but I would be interested to get people's take on what could have made that better and a successful onside recovery for us.
I agree. I'm going to spend some of my week here trying to reach out to some special teams coaches and those who know special teams. I just don't know special teams that well. And try and figure out what the strategy was, what they were trying to do. And I genuinely don't know, because old school, Darren, and they mentioned this on the broadcast, you have all these guys sprinting up to you and you are trying to stop them from penetrating. This is a little bit of a different ball game. So I'm curious as to what Matt Daniels called. I know that they're going to have a coordinator press conference on Tuesday. I'm going to be dialed in and I'm going to be listening because I want to know what the strategy was, why it played out the way it did, and how things ended up evolving from there. Because, man, incredibly frustrating to see that happen. Initially, I thought it hit a bear, but it obviously didn't. That's another thing. How in the world are there not the same amount of cameras at every damn NFL game? How? This is 2024. You make billions upon billions of dollars. Spend an extra $100,000 per crew, even if it's probably not even that. Get the same amount of cameras at every game. There were multiple calls that would have been decided potentially differently on both sides if you had the same amount of cameras at every single stadium at every single game.
It'd be more than 100,000. Trust me.
Inexcusable. Dave, think about it. I remember hearing a number. There's 7 at a game like this. There's 11 or 12 at a primetime game. So you're talking about equipping every crew with the same camera equipment. All right. So your main Fox crew, your main CBS crew, ESPN, NBC all have the same cameras theoretically, right? So you're only having to equip your bottom 3 or 4 Fox crews, your bottom 3 or 4 CBS crews. Even if you spend, let's say, $1 million or $2 million, that is pennies on a profit and loss sheet for a company like the National Football League, who pays out millions in profits to their respective franchises with profit sharing. You have to fix this. This could cost the team a Super Bowl. What if this happened to the Chiefs today? And the Chiefs are one of these teams and they got screwed. Like that, those are the darlings of the NFL, because guess what? The game against the Panthers probably had the same amount of cameras, right? Because it was a very low profile game on the course of the NFL schedule. It's baffling. It's absolutely baffling. What happens if the Bears or Vikings completely got screwed by one of those? Because it came real close today. Real close.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it did. No, I agree. It needs to be done, and it should be done. But TV broadcast camera is mega dollars. It's an expensive camera.
Oh, I'm sure it is, but it's not like that these guys can't afford it. To make sure there is equity. Because we talk a lot of time about equality, and equality is oftentimes the wrong word because they're not putting enough equity into each of these games by making sure that they're officiated the proper way. And by having the same amount of cameras in the same spots gives equity to every single game.
Yeah, but is it the NFL's responsibility or it's broadcast partners' responsibility?
Well, who signs a contract with the broadcast partners?
Well,
I'm blaming the NFL. They could easily tell them, you have to have the same amount of cameras at every game.
I would say that's the answer. But, yes.
The Vikings won, and I'm yelling. This is... what a day.
Yeah, but you're yelling over cameras.
So exciting.
But, I like all the cameras in the first down marker and the cones in the end zone and sideline, the overheads. They're freaking wonderful. And CBS does the Sony's, the personnel one, after a touchdown, and they'll come in with a camera and it blurs out everybody behind and it's real pretty and all that sort of stuff. But yes, it depends on the network, but it should be mandated across the board. These are the minimums. And maybe it is, and the minimums are just so low. I don't know. But it should be, because they can afford it.
It should be the same cameras, no minimums, Dave. It should be the same amount of cameras at every game. That way, that would just lead to more
equal
minimum, right? Like, okay, the Vikings Bears on Sunday afternoon gets your minimum 8 cameras, or 10 cameras, but then whoever Brady is calling this week, they get 25 fucking cameras,
right,
or something along those lines. But there was a mention, I think, from Steve below about he was upset about the Vikings kicking short on that last kickoff, and I wonder about that. I don't know whether that was intentional or not. It seemed like it was, but an odd time to do it, because Parker Romo had no problem hitting deep into the end zone on any of his kickoffs up to that point. And that one was right around the goal line, if not maybe a yard or two out. So that's another one that Tyler's going to be listening to, is why did Daniels, if he did, call for them to kick it short and have the Bears return there, when you just go for a touchback and it's at the 30 and the Bears have more grass that they got to cover in a minute 57.
Yeah, I think the line of thinking there is usually, I'm not sure what the success rates are, but usually you can stop the return short of the 30 yards. So
correct,
you probably get a better field position. And the other thing is, by allowing them to return it, you get time off the clock. So I think that was what they wanted. I think they kicked it short intentionally to force a return so they can stop him short of 30 and get time off the clock. So that's what they wanted. Obviously, it didn't turn out that way because the returner got free. You can't have that. Like, that's just an execution mistake. I don't think as a coach you can really make the wrong choice here, because either you play it safe, kick it out of the end zone, or you say, okay, I want to have some seconds off the clock, so I'm going to kick it short. And most of the time, the coverage team is going to handle that. So, that's just on the players. I think this is one of those cases where a lot of fans are going to question the coaches, but this, in my opinion, is kind of overthinking. Just make that play. Just do your job on the field.
Now we have a question here on 4th and 1, where we went for it. Do you believe it was the correct call by KOC?
I'm guessing we're talking the one where they didn't get it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that was.
I like the call.
They got the field goal.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Like, a lot of people were mad that they went empty, but if you have a QB who can run, I think that's actually not a bad process, because you still have to account for the run, because you have a QB who can just pull it down and go that yard. And
he should have.
I actually think I want to see the all-22 on that one, because on the broadcast angle, and they didn't really have that many good replays on that, but I felt like there was some space, and he maybe could have gotten this, but I really want to see that. I really want to see the all-22 on that one. But I think emptying it out puts a lot of stress on the defense in that case, because they still have to respect the run because of Darnold, but they also have to get a whole lot of people out of the box. You still want to double Jefferson, and then you have Addison, you have Hawkinson, you have, I'm not sure if Aaron Jones was on the field on that one, but even if he was, he's a good receiver. He is a good receiver, so there's a lot of stuff that you can do, and I actually think I actually like that, because you also had two bears in the A gap, so I actually think they probably gave Darnold the option that if he sees a certain alignment by the defensive line, just go up and sneak it. But he had two down linemen in both A gaps, so that went off the table. So I'm fine with that. That's just another case of make that play, and especially if Darnold had room to run on that. Again, I'm not sure if he had. It kind of looked like that, but the angles were kind of iffy on that. So I really want to say that see the tape on that, but make that play. That's just it. I don't think that was a bad play call.
Your defense is playing really well up to that point, and you had a half a yard to get there. It wasn't even a full yard. So I like the call. I like I'm always nervous about going for it on fourth and whatever, because you don't get the ball back if you don't execute, but that's just football. But like Anthony said below, that the execution just didn't work. Kyler Gordon, I think it was Kyler Gordon, made a nice play on that, broke on the ball well, defended the pass. The Bears did that several times. They must have had 7 or 8 balls that they tipped, knocked down, that would have been reception. So, tip your hat to them. And yeah, I think Darnold could have ran for it there, even without the all-22 look. It looked like there was a nice big wide lane there up the middle that he could have got that half a yard. Now maybe a DT comes crashing down off a block and takes him down there, but most of the time the quarterbacks are, especially Darnold, even though he can run, he's looking to pass the ball when he drops back to pass. He's only running at the last resort. So
I think there was one angle where I thought there was Tremaine Edmonds kind of lurking around that area where he maybe could have affected that. So maybe that was Darnold's line of thinking, that he wasn't sure if he can get that, and even if he can, he might get absolutely blown up by Tremaine Edmonds. So maybe he just thought that getting it to Hawkinson was the safer option. But again, got to see the tape for that one.
And it's one of those parts of the field where the Vikings probably can't kick a field goal there. If you punt it, you gain, depending on the punt, you gain maybe 20 yards of field position. So try to get the first down, put your foot on the Bears' neck and get a score and put the game out of reach. We sort of ended up doing that drive after that, but then that's when shit got real.
Yeah. I like if Kyler Gordon doesn't, and I think the one area of criticism, and I'll defer to the all-22, kind of like how Jonas said, because I want to be able to see the full play unfold. The one thing that you could potentially talk about is the fact that Kyler Gordon is on the outside and TJ Hawkinson is kind of finding the soft spot in the zone. There's nobody on the right side of the field, the near side, to occupy Kyler Gordon, because if somebody's occupying anywhere near him, he does not get onto the football. He does not make that break because he still has to like stay kind of relatively put in that area of the zone. So having that, like that's where some of that frustration come into play. But I think it's less about the play call itself and more about the execution. And that's been my biggest argument with people. You are not mad at the play calling of Kevin O'Connell, which is objectively good to great. You are mad about the execution. Like the missed touchdown to Justin Jefferson. Guess what? That's a score if Brandon Powell just does the simple thing. Pretend to keep running. Just keep running. Run through them. Don't stop and brace yourself. You need to run through. If you run through, guess what? Justin Jefferson's got a touchdown. If you do what he did, it's pass interference. Luckily, it didn't end up impacting the game much at all because they were able to get down. They still scored. But you got to be – it's all about execution. And you want to blame the coaches for execution? That's fair. I think that's a different discussion. But if we want to be critical of the play calling, I don't think this is it. I think the play call obviously worked, but – it is what it is. Kevin Seifert, as my notifications pop up, that had a chance to talk to Johnny Munt and said, the Seifert's tweet, quote, Johnny Munt said if he had to do it all over again, he would go for the ball on the onside kick, but his assignment was to block and clear out for the second line to recover. Standard onside kick fundamentals, just a freak play. So I think that kind of answers some of it. I do think and this is where I would respond with a different question, like, there are obviously different types of onside kicks. You have onside kicks where they try and bounce the ball up in the air. You have onside kicks, which are rare, where you try and just blast it at a guy and hope for a ricochet, carry him and being able to recover it. Or you have those little sidewinder ones where it looks like a throwing star. There's got to be different levels of there's got to be different types of protection calls, different calls based on how you see the kick unfold. Like, with the sidewinder one, you see that the ball's on the side. You should be able to see, hey, this is what's happening. Like, wait for the ball to be kicked, see how it's coming, and then react. Because if it's not going to go 10 yards, it doesn't matter if you're blocking or not. They can't touch it. So
no, I think it was too
good follow-up.
I think it was too much in doubt there, Tyler, whether it was not going to go 10 yards. And a bit of luck there by the Bears, because that ball, the sidewinder there, it just seemed to it got to the point where it did just as those Bears blockers were near there too. So it really muddied things up for Munt and any other Viking. Like Munt says there that if he had to do it again, he'd try to get the ball, but there was a lot of traffic there right now. So that would have been risky as well. Maybe it would have worked out, but as soon as you touch the ball, Vikings ball, it's a live ball. So you better get it clean, or else there were 5 Bears around the ball there to pick it up. Either way, it was a tough situation for him to be in.
Yeah. Man, what a game. I'm
going over some of the stats. Sam Darnold was 22 for 34 today. 330 yards, 9.7 yard average, 2 TDs, 0 interceptions, and a QB rating of 116.1. Nick Mullins, 1 for 1, 14, QB rating 118.8. Yay.
That was a big play.
Yes, it was.
It was a fantastic play design. Like, that was peak Kevin O'Connell third down play calling. This was amazing play design. Like, this is the thing when people talk about play calling for Kevin O'Connell. Like, this isn't normal to get a guy that open over the middle of the field with that much room to run on a third and what was it, 14, 13? Like, very long. Mm-hmm. This is normal that you can convert that, and the Vikings do this with a regularity. Mm-hmm. That's where you know that you have a really good play designer and play caller.
And it wasn't exactly a crazy creative play call either, Jonas. It was a drive concept on the right where you have the outside receiver running a shallow crosser and the inside receiver running a deeper dig route around 10 to 12 yards in depth is kind of like the usual depth on a concept like drive. But what they did on the other side is they had everybody run like basically 4 verts, all verticals. And those verticals were meant to set up those blockers because guess what? Jefferson's going to be covered. So you know that Jones is going to have all of this space. So you just have the offensive lineman pass block, and then you just let Jones do his thing. Just little things like that separate him from everybody else. And I agree completely, Jonas. Just great play calling. The illusion of complexity. Nothing was complex about that. It wasn't trying to be fancy. It was getting the right play call, the right situation with a little bit of nuance and creativity by taking a simple concept and making it your own. And just great stuff. Absolutely great stuff. Just Kevin O'Connell is arguably coach of the year. Like with this kind of stuff. Like there are other coaches that are obviously deserving as well. And coach of the year usually goes to a first-time head coach. Or somebody who's like really new and a team that exceeds expectations, which the Vikings have. Nobody expected the Vikings to win 9 games. People were predicting them to win 4 games. 6.5 was the biggest win total. I saw it get as high as 7.5. The Vikings have 9 wins in 11 games, and they arguably could have 10.
Yep.
Like just this team is good. They aren't getting the love and credit that they deserve, but they went into a place that's incredibly difficult to play. They got the win in unfortunate circumstances, but they still got a win. It was not fluky. And give credit to Brian Flores' defense. That overtime drive, one of my biggest frustrations, Jonas, I think you or Darren mentioned it earlier when I jumped on, was the lack of contain on the pass rush. They were not containing Caleb Williams, and he busted out and got multiple first downs from it. Well, guess what Jonathan Grenard didn't let him do on that second down? Hey, I'm just going to play you straight up. Oh, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? The old adage from D3 the Mighty Ducks, make him make the first move, Conway. When he makes the move, you attack. But you got to let him make that first move so you are countering them and they aren't taking advantage of your leverage. Grenard did that, got his second sack of the game, and that might have been the biggest play of the game. Because if you don't get that sack and he ends up being able to throw it away, like then it's not 3rd and 21 that becomes 3rd and 26. It's like 3rd down and 10, and that is pretty easily convertible in comparison. So they stepped up when they needed to, and the whole team did not let their guard down. They did not put their heads down and whine and complain. They just went to work and got the win, and that's a culture right there. That's a culture-defining win for the Minnesota Vikings.
And speaking of sacks, we had with sacks today, Andrew Van Ginkel gets credited with 1, Grenard 2. Tackles for loss, we had Byron Murphy for 2, Van Ginkel 1, Grenard 4, Cashman 1. Not bad on the day. Total tackles go to Harrison Smith with 11. He almost had his 37th interception today. Went zip through his fingers. I wish he would have had it. But it is what it is. Back to when it comes to rushing, the Vikings rushed for 124 yards. 106 by Aaron Jones, 19 by Cam Akers, and a -1 by our quarterback. Passing, the star of the day, Jordan Addison, 162 yards. His best pro game ever. He should get stud of the game from One Bar and Lupagus this week. We have TJ Hawkinson with 114 total yards, clutch at the end. And then JJ only had 27, and Aaron had an additional 23 yards catching. So it wasn't a bad performance by the offense. There were times when we wish it was better, but it wasn't bad. We were efficient for the most part.
I think this was the game where you really could see what the point of this supporting cast is. Like, they had their plan for Justin Jefferson. They were like, okay, you're not going to beat us with that guy. That's the guy we are taking off your map, and we do everything we can to do that. And the Vikings and Sam Darnold, to his credit, were finally like, okay, if you take that guy away, we're gonna force the issue. Let's just do that. Let's be happy with the fact that you are allocating 3 guys to that dude, and we have a lot of awesome players beside him, and we just let them roll over your second, third, and fourth guy. And that's exactly what they did. Aaron Jones for more than 100, Harkinson for more than 100 for, I think, the first time since he came back. Jordan Addison with a huge season breakout game. Like, that's the thing that for me gives me a lot of hope over the next few weeks, because so far I think there were some teams, especially after the Jaguars game, that probably looked at that tape and thought, okay, Donald is forcing the issue to Jefferson, so let's just do everything we can to lock that guy up and hope that Donald still tries to force it to him and makes the mistakes off of that. And now the Vikings had 2 games in a row where Donald was not doing that and where this strategy didn't work. So now defensive coordinators have to go back to the board and figure out, well, how are we going to stop Jefferson and still allocate more resources to Addison and Harkinson. And that's going to be a really big task for defensive coordinators. And if Sam Darnold can keep playing that way, if he can keep his instincts in check, where it's like, where he wants to lock down on one target and force the issue there, the Vikings can avoid that. This offense is really tough to stop, and this Bears defense is really good. Like, I'm not sure where they rank right now in a lot of those statistics that matter, but they are a really good defense, and this defense has kept them in a lot of games, and the Vikings have been able to move the ball up and down on them. And despite the fact that Jefferson, their best player, was taken off the map, I don't want to say he wasn't a factor, because he absolutely was a factor by getting the Bears to key in on him all the time. That got Addison and Harkinson open that often. But it's really good to see that the Vikings were able to do that.
Yes, it was. Hey, this is our last road game for a while. We got the next 3 at home coming up next week. Freddie says we're opening up 4-point favorites against the Cards. Then we have the wonderful Kirk Cousins revenge game against the Falcons. That one may get flexed. And after that, we got the Bears again. All at home with our home crowd.
Can we get Kirk Cousins on Monday night?
Well, then it'd be back-to-back Monday nighters, because the Bears are Monday night.
They will not be flexing the game to Monday night, and I can tell you why. It's the Simpsons game, and they've already got a ton of drawings done for the game and a ton of animations. They're not going to change it. That was reported earlier in the week, because there was some discussion, because it's Cincinnati-Dallas, and it's not exactly a sexy matchup. But because of the nature of the game, it won't be flexed. It won't be flexed to Sunday night either, because of the Chargers taking on Kansas City. That's an elite football game. But where it could be flexed, it's possible they would flex it to 325, but I doubt it, because it's got the Bills and Rams and the Bears and 49ers, 2 games that you could argue are going to be more high profile than the Kirk Cousins return. So we're getting noon Kirk Cousins. I like noon games. It makes my life a whole lot easier.
Oh, sure. You're not going to hear an argument from me about that.
Jonas, what is it? Is it midnight for you right now?
No, not yet. It's 11:17 p.m.
Okay, I couldn't remember if it was a 7 or 8 hour difference where you're at. Okay. Well, yeah, you can go to bed after this and not have to worry about it. Like,
yeah,
it's great for foreign fans too.
True.
Unless you're from Australia, like we have in our chat as well.
Hey, yeah, I got a buddy. Shout out Harley Duncan, who I talk to regularly, who lives in Australia, and I usually get messages from him about like 1 a.m. my time. He's like, one hell of a game, and then we'll have like a little conversation because he doesn't get a chance to like watch it live. So yeah, it's man, I need to have a couple more beers. This was a mentally draining day.
Well, folks, we've been on the air quite a while. I'm going to wrap this up. Any last words, Jonas?
I think, and this was one minor part, but I think we have complained about refs a lot this season for good reasons, and I think at some point I want to do a shout out when they do something well and when they execute their mechanics very well. And I haven't looked at the mechanics book of the NFL. I'm not even sure if it's publicly available, but if it's anything like the one we use in Germany and the one that college football uses, I think one of the calls that was really crucial and was a very good example of true officiating was that pass interference call. I think it was on Jefferson on that sideline go route. And the flag came from the... Was it? I'm not sure which Vikings player it was.
Powell was
DPI.
Powell was... Oh, you're talking DPI?
Yeah.
I thought you were talking
DPI.
the wheel route.
No. Not about that offense pass interference. I'm talking about... I think it set up the touchdown, one of the early touchdowns. I'm not sure which one it was, but it was a go out down the sideline, and I think Jefferson was the player that was held, and he was held from behind, which is tough in that spot because usually they probably have a similar zone kind of observation thing going on there. At least that's how we do it here. And so usually this is the spot of the deep wing referee. So the responsibility for the back judge is keep observing the middle of the field, and once the ball goes outside, he has to come get out there and help. Because there are some angles that you just can't cover, and that one was one of them. Like Jalen Johnson held Jefferson in a spot that is kind of impossible to see for the guy who is supposed to observe that. And I know this because when I used to play as a defensive back, I would hold those guys at the exact same spots because I knew which referee was looking at that, and I knew that if I hold a player at a certain point, the guy who's observing that would have to basically look through that guy to see that. And this is where it's really crucial that the crew works together and gets the help in time, because Jefferson wasn't even slowed down that much, but the ball missed him just over the fingertips, so the little tug was enough to slow him down. And the back judge got there early, he got the look, and he was the one guy who threw the flag and bailed everybody else out, because the guys who were at that spot weren't able to see it from that angle. And that's really good officiating. And I think, as much as we bitch about officiating a lot, I think that's something that at times we just gotta appreciate.
That's different. But yes, you are correct. Tyler, what do we got going on tomorrow night?
We're going to talk about Sam Darnold. We're going to talk about how great this game was. We're going to talk about how every team should sell out to stop Justin Jefferson so Addison and Hawkinson and Jones can destroy you. We should talk about how we're just going to talk about everything. I'm sick of all the glazing over Caleb Williams when he's, not great yet. I'm sick of completely ignoring Sam Darnold because of his name and not because of his level of play. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of all this crap, and I'm going to tell you how I really feel tomorrow. I mean, it's not like I haven't been doing that already, but we're going to do it with more information when the All 22 comes out. We're going to do it. Yeah, it's incredible. It's like this team can really make a Super Bowl run, and I could have maybe seen the vision. I would have told you that's a 95th to 100th percentile outcome for what this roster is, but it just goes to show you fit and how you use players oftentimes matters more than talent, and that's what we're getting right now. Incredible coaching job, incredible performance, even with the warts. This is a legit football team, and I'm going to enjoy the ride because this team could be even better next year potentially, which is wild. And I'm gonna keep saying it until he either signs somewhere else or he's extending here. There is still a non-zero chance Sam Darnold's the quarterback next year. Just put it in the back of your mind. It's still under 5%, but it's still under 5%. But it's non-zero. Just remember, if he keeps playing like this, McCarthy is still completely unproven. It's non-zero. That doesn't mean I think they will or they should, but it's non-zero. Just remember that.
Mm-hmm. Darren, what are you hoping to see this week so we can talk about it next Saturday?
I'll be very interested in the injury report coming out on during the week to see what Cam Robinson's status is. I think that Pace might be out a while just based on him doing the splits there and having a hamstring problem. So, and that'll be big. And, whether Darnold is feeling any of the effects from that foot ankle injury or whatever, those are some pretty major cogs in the Vikings team. And you don't want to be losing your second left tackle. Even though Quisenberry was fine today, you don't want to. But that's one of the reasons why it was great for the Vikings to make that trade, because these injuries happen along the offensive line. What if Quisenberry had gone down with an injury? Then we were sticking Walter Rouse in there. I don't know if that's what we want.
Well, he wasn't even called up, so it would have been somebody else today. Anyways, with that, I want to thank everybody that joined us today. You guys have absolutely rocked it. Love you guys. And you will see more of us on Vikings First and SKOL all week long. We've got a normal schedule ahead as we get ready for the Cardinals game at home. But if you don't join us, and I don't see that being the case, it is Thanksgiving week that we're rolling into, and I want everybody to be safe. Drink your favorite beverages. Enjoy your friends and family. And until tomorrow night, what do we say?
SKOL Vikings. SKOL Vikings.
SKOL Vikings. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and ring the bell. And share this episode with your friends and even your enemies. We'd love it. Thanks for watching Vikings First and SKOL. We are part of the Fans First Sports Network, and we appreciate each and every one of you. SKOL.